Welcome into another episode of Tailgate Talk SEC. I am Will Thomas, and today we are continuing the transfer portal recap series through the SEC. If you have been enjoying all this portal content and you want to see your team coming up next, because I will be doing all of them, subscribe to me here. I will have it all for you guys. But today we're talking Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, Georgia didn't really have that much attrition on their roster throughout the portal. And that wasn't really overly shocking because one, there wasn't a coaching change, obviously, with Kirby that being there. And two, Kirby's built a program where it's guys who they want to stay there. There isn't going to be this mass exodus every year of players who want to go elsewhere, want to be developed somewhere better, because you really don't get developed much better than you do in Athens with Kirby and his staff. So you're seeing the roster really stay together. Only 14 transfers out. Guys like Jaden Harris at safety, Jonel Aguero at safety, also who went to Ole Miss. You lost Chris Jones at linebacker, Daniel Harris at corner, Bo Hewley at offensive tackle, Roderick Robinson the second at running back. He could be a loss. We'll see if he develops into the running back that people thought he could be down the line. Elo Mendoza off the edge, another guy who Georgia might be missing. But even though they only lost 14 players and they only brought 9 in, there's some really good football players that Kirby brought in through the portal. Defensively, one of the biggest adds is Khalil Barnes, the safety from Clemson. Now, Clemson was down as a whole all year, and they kind of haven't, they haven't been up to that standard as of recent. Khalil Barnes is a really good player. He's a really good player. He was an anchor in that secondary. He's a hard hitter. He's a guy who does force turnovers, pick the ball off, and force fumbles. Barnes is an awesome safety back there. And he's a Southern guy. And, if you're coming in through the portal to play for Kirby, that means that you are physical, right? It means that you are a good defender, because especially being, with Kirby being Kirby, a guy who played DB in college, he knows what a good defensive back is. So the fact that he went out and he got Khalil Barnes, that shows you what Kirby Smart thinks of Khalil Barnes. Barnes is an awesome player. He's really, really good. And offensively, too, they're bringing in Dante Dowdell from Kentucky. Now, he was really one of the only signs of life that Kentucky had on their offense as a whole this past season. He was a really good running back, two-headed monster with Seth McGowan, who is now going pro. Dante's a good add to that backfield. Because, like I said, Roderick Robinson II, he's hitting the portal, so they needed another depth piece in that room. Dowdell, I don't really expect to be a depth piece per se, right? I mean, I think he should be one of their leading carriers throughout the season. He's that kind of player. You do obviously also have guys like Chauncey Bowens there. Nate Frazier is coming back. So it is a crowded running back room, but Dowdell went there for a reason. And I don't believe that he went there not to play. He was a good enough player where he could have gone to a bunch of other schools where he would have had guaranteed playing time, but he went to Georgia because he knows he can get developed there, and he knows that he'll probably play. So I expect Dante Dowdell to have a pretty decent year for Georgia this year. Just some other transfer they did bring in. Isaiah Canyon, the receiver, is coming over from Georgia Tech, their rival. That's a big-time gift for some depth there in that room. You got Braylon Conley coming in from USC at corner. Amaris Williams from Auburn on the defensive line. Amaris was a very highly rated recruit. He didn't see the field very much during his time at Auburn. He's a guy I'm watching for sure. Williams hitting the portal, obviously, guys from Auburn, I already did a video about them, and just the 30-plus guys leaving. Williams is one of the guys who left Auburn that I'm really, really high on. His potential is sky high. His recruiting ranking showed that for a reason, and he didn't get much shine at Auburn. He didn't get much playing time. He's going to be really good. So you put him on that Georgia defensive front that has been producing absolute dogs, no pun intended, year after year. I think Amaris Williams can be a really good player. Kirby also brought in another quarterback, Bryson Beaver from Oregon. Beaver was with the Ducks. He didn't get any playing time behind Dante Moore, but he'll be at Georgia now, being behind Gunnar Stockton, being a depth piece in that room. So like I said at the beginning, Georgia, they weren't overly active in the portal, which is not a bad thing at all, because we know how talented Georgia's roster is. They didn't need to, bring in this massive wave of playmakers to be competitive next year. They just had to backfill what they lost. And I think that Kirby did a really good job backfilling the secondary really, really well with guys like Khalil Barnes and also like Braylon Conley from USC, like Jamali Riddle from East Carolina. I really just can't stop thinking about that ad of Khalil Barnes. I think he could be one of the best safeties in the SEC next season. Getting Dante Dowdell on offense is really key. And, there wasn't a whole lot of turnover offensively either. You bring in Canyon and Dowdell for the skill positions, but you kind of know what you have with Georgia next year. I think that Kirby and that staff, it did a very good job of not relying on the portal, just using it to supplement the holes that they had, address depth issues where they needed to. I mean, Georgia's still Georgia. With the ad that Kirby's made in the portal, I'm very high on that team going into next year. Obviously, I mean, who won't be? But Georgia is primed to be a contender in the SEC again. Another playoff berth for the Bulldogs might be on the horizon. So that's it. That is the Georgia Bulldogs transfer portal recap to bring in some big time players. If you did enjoy this video, please subscribe to me here. Follow me on Twitter. I am Will Thomas, and I will see you next time.